My sister had a birthday not too long ago, and she wanted to go to a restaurant with me and my mom to go and celebrate at a restaurant. So I told her, well, let me help you find a restaurant because I honor God and I fear Him and I love His Torah, and I don't eat just anywhere. I vet out the places I eat to make sure that I support those who support my God, particularly in Israel. I don't go to just any place. I want to make sure they honor Shabbat and that they're kosher. Why would I go to any restaurant that is open on Shabbat, violating the commandments of my God, in the land of Israel, the home of the Jews where everybody knows of Shabbat? So I started looking, doing my research to find a place that is closed on Shabbat and serves the type of food that my sister likes. She's a vegetarian, so preferably, pastas, etc. And while I was searching, I came across this article online about restaurant owners petitioning the Supreme Court, listen to this, petitioning the Supreme Court to retain their kosher certificate even though they want to open on Shabbat. They want to retain their kosher certificate even though they want to open their restaurant and work and violate Shabbat. Because their justification was, well, we make 40% of our revenue just on that one day alone. Why? If we work on Shabbat, we can double our money. As if that justifies violating God's commandment. And I was so in awe on the lewdness of these people. Like Yeshua said about the shrewd servant, the people of this world, the things they do. How evil. Wait, so you want to keep the kosher certificate? I wonder why. I'll tell you why. I know why. Because in Israel, most people don't even know what's kosher. They just, if it says kosher, they'll get it. They don't even know what it means. And most people, like I said in the other message about do not cook a kid in its mother's milk, they don't understand what it means. So for them, kosher simply means do not mix meat with dairy. So if a place is either a meat restaurant or a dairy restaurant, they're probably going to be kosher as long as they don't mix and they don't serve any pig meat, pork and shrimp and etc. So for most people, that's what they care about. Well, I want to make sure it's kosher. You don't serve any milk and any cheese with the meat, do you? So there are a lot of religious people in Israel, but most of them are not zealous for God. They just follow tradition. So they don't really care if a place is truly kosher and honors God's law, which is Shabbat. Obviously, the commandment of Shabbat is for you, your son, your daughter, your maid, your servant, your animals, and the foreigners living amongst you in your town. So it includes everybody. You can't get around it. You can't say, well, I'm not working, I have Arabs work and they don't keep Shabbat. That's not the commandment. The commandment says everybody. Even the foreigners are not to work. And especially you are not supposed to be making money off of that day because that is God's resting day. So no, you cannot keep your kosher certificate and open on Shabbat. That is a violation. And no Supreme Court on earth has the authority to legalize what God outlawed. But they sure try, don't they? And I'm thinking to myself also, how interesting, because this sounds very similar to another argument made by a different group of people that are apparently all the same. Pharmacists. Well, we make 80% of our revenue selling illegal drugs. Surely that justifies the means. I mean, after all, it is the people who ask for it. We don't force their hand. They come looking for the drug, so we just give it to them. What's the difference? Oh, we can violate God's law if we make more money. I mean, 40% more just on that one day. Surely we can work on Shabbat. We can make more money. That also sounds like that salesman that says, well, surely I deceive a little customers here and there, and surely I exaggerate the value, and surely I overpriced them just a little bit, and I told them it was better than it actually was, but hey, if I can make more money in all of those ad agencies, well, if you sign this contract, you're gonna get 20 leads a month. Little did you know that once you sign the contract, there are no refunds. It is a 12-month contract. It auto-renews without notice, and you can't stop it. And by the way, you're not gonna get 20 leads a month. But hey, the corporation justifies, well, we can make more money if we oversell and underdeliver. Surely it justifies the means. Surely we can violate the law if it means more profits. Right? I mean, more profit justifies everything. That's how evil people think. So what's the difference? Whether you sell drugs, do all kind of perverted things, or open on Shabbat, you are a criminal in God's eyes. And after all, He is the supreme authority. There is no supreme court above His. But you want to think that you are good, and you want to think that you are not so evil and criminal. It's not your fault. This is how we make our money. You know, in the Torah, it tells you regarding Shabbat that even in the times of harvest and sowing, you ought to take a break. Which means that harvest does not justify you overworking, violating God's Shabbat. I know it's time to harvest. I know you gotta get your crops. You still gotta take Shabbat off. Profits do not justify criminal activity and violating God's laws. There are no excuses. The Shabbat is one of the top commandments of the highest importance. If you violate His Shabbat, it will not end well for you. He holds Shabbat in extreme high regards. You better be very careful. There is nothing that is justifiably, or nothing that can, to put it this way, nothing is worth violating God's Shabbat. Doesn't matter how much you think you've gained. After all, the famous saying is, what good is it to gain the whole world and lose your soul? And if you violate God's commandment, you will lose your soul and end up in hell. So you better repent and change your ways and close your business down. No more working now. It's Shabbos.